we are going to have a look at a pretty early arcade game, Space App. And it seems like it was initially published by Gamertron in mid-1980 or so. And here you can see a preview flyer with a fairly rough looking mock-up of the cab. And here's the actual Gamertron flyer depicting a proper cabinet. And supposedly this is the same cab type that was used for Space Invaders. And I think this cabinet is pretty rare because Gamertron licensed the game to Midway in late 1980, or as they were known at the time, Midway Manufacturing. So I really don't think too many Gamertron cabs were manufactured and distributed. Midway released a total of 3 different cabinet variants of the game: Minimite, Cocktail Table and Standard Arcade. And the stand-up ones had simple but very nice looking artwork. The bigger one also had these pretty cool looking attached pieces of glass or plastic on the sides. Looks a bit like a cockpit canopy. Now, some sources claim that Gamertron developed the game, but it's quite possible that they only commissioned it. There is hidden text in the ROM suggesting that David Nutting Associates were responsible for at least software development, but also, possibly at least, the hardware design. It's all rather unclear though, and I haven't been able to find out who specifically developed the game at the company. Now, David Nutting Associates was started in 1974 by engineers David Judd Nutting and Jeff Fredrickson. Initially, they served as a contractor for new arcade game concepts, and they seemed to have worked closely with Midway on their pinball games. But they also produced many of their early arcade titles, including classics such as Gunfight, Seawolf, Wizard of War and Gorf. Eventually they were bought up by Midway, with David Nutting still retaining the head position in the company, but they were eventually shut down by Midway in 1984 following the great video game crash of 1983. But enough said, let's dive into the game, shall we? And I have actually played this one before, back in the day. I remember I was with my mum and dad at this kind of amusement park, sort of. It was a place they had like animals and miniatures, and it was all pretty naff, really. Pretty run down, so I wasn't terribly excited, but I got really excited when I discovered the arcade, and as I excitedly ran in there, I was a little bit disappointed when I saw that there was only one arcade game, and that was this one, and I think some pinball games that were pretty boring and some other stuff that I just didn't care about. But hey, it was an arcade game and I just had to fit it some coins and played. And as I did, I remember being pretty unimpressed by it because this was like mid to late 80s and there were a lot more advanced and prettier looking games by then. So yeah, I wasn't too excited, but as I played it, I kind of started liking it up until the point when, of course, my dad came and dragged me away, as he always did, because they wanted to go home or something. I don't remember. But yeah, it wasn't too bad, and I haven't played it since, and I just quite recently remembered or found out what the game was called because I couldn't remember that. So let's feed this some coins and see what it's all about. And this is a very, very, very simple game. You have the space station that you control in the middle, and you just blast the ships that are attacking you on the sides. That's all there is. And it's got like 5 buttons, 4 buttons for directions and 1 fire button. So not only do you have to direct your laser, you also need to fire it. And this game picks up speed pretty quickly. And it's actually surprisingly addictive. There's something about this game that's just makes me want to play it. I can see myself getting pretty tired of it, but it does pick up in speed pretty quickly, and it's kind of fun to just try and beat your score. I've played it for a little bit, but as I said back in the day when I first saw it, I was pretty unimpressed with the visuals. It really doesn't look that amazing, and it's even got a black and white monitor. It's monochromatic. So there's this colored overlay that makes it a little bit more interesting. That colors everything, colors the text and the ships and everything. So at least there's some hint of color. But as you can see, yeah, it's pretty simple stuff. And you can also see picks up speed really quickly. I think you get additional bases at, is it 30,000 points? Can't quite remember. And the ships that surround you they actually cloak, I think. So you can, I think, farm them for projectiles, or mines, as I think it's called. The things that they are firing at me. And keep them there. And just get points for the mines. But I'm not sure that's a terribly good idea. Really not an expert. And wow, yeah, that was the end of me. One base down. And this explosion is pretty nuts. And pretty colourful as well, given how it's using the coloured overlay. And it's also kind of interesting to see how the game kind of gives you a break every now and then. It picks up speed and then it just slows down for a bit, so you have the time to kind of catch your breath a little bit. And I remember as I was playing it and just wildly hammering away at the buttons, trying to blow up all the mines. A little kid came over with his dad and started watching. Oh, bonus base 75,000. All right. And the dad was quite impressed with my gameplay skills, and I was like, really? Because I didn't do too well as I remember it. Maybe he was easily impressed, but that's the thing I remember, because it was pretty dead. There was no people there, really. It's just me in my loneliness playing Space Sap. So, yeah. And I don't remember what other games were there. I really don't, because this was just the game that I was interested in, or most interested in. There's a little bit of a delay here as well with MAME. I'm not sure if it's MAME that's the problem, or because I can't change. Sometimes the base doesn't move. I don't know what that is all about. Maybe it's, yeah, it just feels like it locks up a little bit. Maybe I should have used my arcade stick. Maybe it's something relating to my keyboard here, because I got lazy and decided to use my standard keyboard to play this. I have my arcade stick. My X-Arcade is put away in a closet, and yeah, again, I do press right there and fire, and there's a small tiny delay. Not entirely sure why, but yeah, there is something definitely addictive about this game. There's something that just makes this fun, and again, I'm pretty sure you will grow tired of it reasonably quickly, but yeah, it's a good blast, you know, for a couple of minutes, I think. Let's try this again. Let's sap the space. So yeah, this was a game that I clearly remembered, but yeah, I could not for the life of me remember the name of it. And here's that damn satellite that needs to die. Yeah, that's a satellite and not a TIE fighter, by the way, if anyone's wondering. Of course it's not a TIE fighter. Yeah, it took me many years to find out what this game was called, and I think I just stumbled across it as I was doing research for something else on Arcade Italia. It's like, hang on, I know that weird box thing, space station. I just recognized the screenshot, and then I could finally find out what the game was called and play it again. Because I had been thinking about making a video about it, just because, you know, it's the thing I remember. Jeez. Yeah, alright, game, chill out. Give me a break. I think the problem is when I press fire, I can't move the base around. So maybe that's just how the game works, to prevent you spamming too much. Could be that, or it could be, again, an issue with keyboard controls. And I don't think I'm going to be trying to farm any projectiles, because, yeah, there's really no point, because the game picks up speed so damn quickly. Die, satellite bastard! And I find it to be easy to just look in the middle of the screen and use the peripheral vision to figure out where to fire. Oh man. It will be fun to see someone that's really good playing this one. See how far they can get and how horrifically difficult it can get. I'm sure there's some Japanese somewhere that's beaten the pulp out of this game and just made it crash or something. Now getting to the first bonus base isn't too hard. But yeah, after that things get hectic. But I do like it that the game... What? I press up and fire again. Oh, maybe I do it at the same time. Yeah, that's probably the problem. What was I going to say again? I think I forgot. Because I was rudely blown up. And I think that there's quite a few clones of this game in the early 80s. Probably released for every single home system, computer or console. Under a different name, of course. Because I think most early computers and video game systems could run this without any major problems. There's not a whole lot going on. No scrolling, just some sprites flying about. So I think this would run like a dream on even an Atari 2600, really. I don't think there is a conversion for the 2600, though. Oh, God. We're going to have a look at the one and only official conversion of this game later. But as I said, there's plenty of clones, but I'm not going to have a look at all of those because that would take me weeks and weeks to locate them all. And die, you TIE Fighter satellite bastard. Oh no, that was me choosing very poorly and getting exploded. Let's see if I can beat my score. Come on, 115,000, right? We can do it. Come on, come on, come on. Now, I realize this might not be the most exciting gameplay to watch, right? Really? Again, I press up and... but I think I beat my score, didn't I? Just barely. Yeah, I did. Right, it was just 102,000, not 115. All right. Okay, yeah. New high. I have reached a new high. That sounds nice. Let's try a different tactic. Let's just hammer the fire button and change direction. Probably a terrible idea given that I'm using a keyboard, but let's just try it. And as I said, I realize this is probably not the most exciting gameplay to watch, but I'm just going to play one more time. And then we're going to have a look at the one official conversion that I could find. Yeah, there's definitely a delay when I'm just hammering the fire button. This is a terrible idea. Let's not do this. And I wonder what the high score is for this game. The world record. If I can find it, I will put it on the screen. It's probably crazy high. I think the arcade gamers were quite divided about this one. I think some people think it's really rather boring, whereas others enjoy it quite a great deal, and I can definitely see that. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea for sure, but it's definitely worth checking out, I'd say. And okay, again, the controls just don't do what I do, but hey. And the cab is pretty cool looking. Got some nice lights and why? Again, I'm pushing down... Oh, sorry to be complaining here, but yeah, there's definitely something not really working with the keyboard controls here. Let's see if we can beat my score. I haven't got high hopes, because, yeah, I've lost a ton of bases. Okay, well, that didn't work. Yeah, pretty decent little arcade game. That is quite fun in short bursts. So let's have a look at the one and only official home conversion of this one, shall we? And as I probably just mentioned, the only home system that got a release of this game was the Bally Astrocade in 1981. And that is, of course, Bally's own home video game console. And interestingly enough, they renamed the game to Space Fortress 2012, so yeah, I don't know why they did that. Did they feel that the game wasn't successful enough in the arcades or something, and then they felt that they had to rename it? But this version is pretty nice. Graphics looks quite different, actually more colorful, runs quite well, and sound effects are just about as annoying and intense as in the arcade. And you can even set a difficulty here, which is quite nice. So you can start at a lower level, and it does ease you into gameplay much better than the arcade, which just picks up speed super quickly. The only minor niggle is that the score doesn't get updated immediately when you blast something. Maybe they did that to kind of save on performance or something, not quite sure. But a rather nice home conversion of Space App. And there were of course countless clones on basically any home system, especially the computer ones, of this game. And I'm pretty certain that the magazines at the time also would publish homebrew versions of this game. So with that, I'm just going to say thanks for watching and hope you found Space Sap to be at least a bit interesting, and definitely check out the game. Not everyone's cup of tea, but it's entirely possible to derive some enjoyment from it in short bursts.